Gentleman yields back. I'm going to go ahead and recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Rohrabacher.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank both of you for coming to brief us today. Mr. Dabbar, you mentioned in your opening statement progress that's been made on battery technology. Let's just note that with the development and the actual deploying of more efficient batteries, then the all of this solar energy and all this technology we've developed with wind, et cetera, actually becomes doable. Some of our hesitation on this side of the aisle has not been just based on that we don't think global warming is important, but that the technology really wasn't there. When do we expect to see these batteries on the market? And do you know of Dr. Goodenough and his, who was the inventor of the lithium battery, and his breakthroughs down at the University of Austin, Texas, on a sodium-based battery?
Thank you, Congressman. So I completely agree with you.
Your mic's either not on or not close enough.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that question. No, clearly, I think of all the technologies that certainly cross-cut, not only between the program offices that both report to the two of us, but across multiple labs, is clearly a focus of what we're working on. And the intermittent nature of wind and solar and some other technologies, really the gap to be filled for all those is in the battery and storage area.
Do we have any of those new battery technologies actually on the market now?
We are working, and this goes back to our previous question, we have over 85 companies that we're working with in the battery sector across our various different labs. And whether it's flow batteries, multivalent batteries, we are actively moving those forward into market.
They are commercialized. So someone wanted to develop it for solar power, could actually now go to one of those batteries.
So they're commercializing. So obviously in many of our areas, I think as Undersecretary Menezes mentioned.
Well, let me just note that one of the things that have been frustrating for me on this committee over the years is the fact that things do get studied and studied and studied to death. And it's almost like somebody wants to continue their research project in order to get a government grant in order to have another year's paying off their bills. Yeah. I think that's a problem that we've got to look at, that commercialization is just as important as discovery. Yeah. Now, 10 years ago, in April of 2008, this committee had a hearing on opportunities and challenges of nuclear power. And at that time, we were told that the next generation of nuclear power was a promising option for the future, just as we just heard about batteries as well, but not yet ready for commercial development. Well, that was 10 years ago, and we haven't seen any design certified by the NRC since then, when they need to have at least their fuel performance and fuel characterizations of standards materials, et cetera, if anybody's going to move forward with it. And in fact, but when we go to the companies and they say, well, we can't really build a prototype until the NRC has approved these various elements. And then you go to the NRC and they say, well, we're looking at designs that have been built and tested through prototypes. You know, it's like the chicken versus, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I would hope that this administration, with its can-do approach, which America first, blah, blah, which we're all rooting for, I hope that we get a prototype and start focusing on actually building an energy prototype for this new next generation of nuclear power, which we know can be safe and can actually, without waste left over, without materials for bombs left over, we can build that. We could have built it in the last 10 years, but we haven't done anything because, and this is where it's in your lap now, let's make sure we structure the whole program aimed at building the prototypes and getting them commercialized rather than just reporting to us how great the research is coming along. Yeah. And please comment on that.
Well, you want me to ask?
Well, I'll go ahead and comment on batteries and then defer
Okay,
to you
I'll talk
on the new commercial nuclear. But as an example of companies that are working with our battery team right now, United Technologies, Johnson Controls, Dow, General Motors, and 80 more that are actively working with our batteries. So I think what we're working on in terms of commercializing, these are real companies who want to make real money, who are taking our technologies and are moving them forward. So I feel very positive about that. And going out and seeing the labs and actually sitting down with them and the companies, and that's what we do, obviously, when we go to our labs. We see that.
And about the nuclear.
So on the small modular reactor, for example, at INL, on my last trip, they are exploring opportunities to actually site and build a small modular reactor there near the lab. The combined operating license needs to get through the NRC, so that will take a process.
This has been going on. This has been going on for at least 10 years, probably 20 years. But 10 years, we could have done this 10 years ago. So I would hope, as I say, that you take this to heart and structure your operation at the Department of Energy in a way that we're going to be getting a prototype built so that it can then move forward from there, because it's been stuck here for 10 years, and it's a real crime. The fact is that San Onofre is near my district. It's shut down. The light water reactors are old and they're dangerous. And San Onofre shut down. And guess what? We have to spend $70 million a year just watching that leftover uranium or whatever it is, fuel from the plant there. We can use that, I understand, and these new modular reactors as fuel for the new ones and actually eat it up, the waste that now is costing us just to look at. So I would hope that next time we meet, the next time we have this hearing, you can report to me some real progress towards a prototype there, and maybe how some companies have actually commercialized those batteries. Thank you.